Have you ever had one of those feelings that something was wrong? I don't mean during the day either, but at night. I mean that sudden, unprovoked feeling of dread that commands you to wake. Funny, it's almost like nocturnal evil gives something off that your sleeping brain picks up on. I had one of those feelings recently. It forced me up at 3 a.m. Normally, when you have that feeling, you'd lay still, feeling sleep, or if you're feeling adventurous, you take a quick check around your house. After you fail to discover anything, you'd inevitably crawl back to sleep. I should have done that this time. I should have stayed asleep. That night, I sat straight up. For the longest time, I sat there, staring into the darkness of my house. Before I even realized that, I was awake. Then came the fear, that slow, strange feeling that constricts your chest and worms its way down your throat. I was alone in my home, wide-eyed and afraid, with no explanation. I couldn't hear the tall-tale signs of a break-in downstairs or the phantom sounds of a leaking pipe. I had no reason to be freaked out, but I was. Without much thought, I got up and walked over to the window. I don't know why I did it. I peeled back just enough of the curtain to poke my head through and stared out into my moonlight backyard. I should have stayed asleep. Outside, prancing around my garden, was a clown. It had ruffles around its sleeves and collar, baggy pants and floppy shoes. Its painted white face was even topped off with a big rubber nose. It was without a doubt the last thing I wanted to see at 3 in the morning. It danced in complete silence, doing a step that only a madman or a child could understand. Its playful manner was haunting. I watched with dreaded fascination as it circled the garden, trying my best to ignore the growing lump in my throat. It moved around, pausing occasionally to play with my gardening tools or to sniff the bulbing plants. Then it waltzed over to an oak sapling I had planted and disappeared. I blinked. This wasn't possible. It walked behind the thin infant plant, but doesn't come out the other side. I should have seen it the entire time, but I didn't. It was like the clown had walked through the door, hidden by the sapling. I should have stayed asleep. I hoped that everything was some sort of waking dream. Pretending nothing happened was easier than the truth. The clown came back through. Night after night, I watched as it danced around my backyard, and at the end of every night, would vanish the same way. One night, disappeared behind a garden hole, only for it to appear a second later from behind a lawnmower. Tonight, I found it digging a hole in the middle of my yard. I've never seen it do something like this before, and my immediate thought is that the clown is digging my grave. The hole got deeper and deeper as the clown dug until the top of the hole reached its head. Once finished, it stood at the edge of the hole, motionless, when out of nowhere it jerked its head around, my heart pounding so hard that I could taste the copper in my mouth. About to the tears away from the curtain when I see it bend down and pluck up a flower. The clown put the stem between its teeth and planted the shovel firmly in the ground before stretching out, pretending surprise and admiring its work like a farmer. My heart was still racing at this point, but I was just glad that it didn't see me. As if the thing read my mind, it turned on its heels and stared right at me. I never thought I'd actually pray for a heart attack. It spit out the flower and ran towards me on its floppy feet. It stopped a few feet away from my house, grinning at me with filthy orange teeth as it pointed to the hole and waved me over excitedly, like a child showing off a finger painting. Frozen in place, the only thing I could do was furiously shake my head no. The clown's smile faded, and it scratched its head as if confused. Then it walked over to the hole and pointed at it again. I would have told it to fuck off if I could. It stood there for a moment before acting out the aha moment. It then waltzed over to the planted shovel, disappeared behind it. I stared wide-eyed, hoping it would reappear in the yard like before. I silently prayed for that until the moment I heard my closet door creak open. I should have stayed asleep. Hey there, my coolies. Warlock Boo here today. And I just got done reading Midnight Dancer. It was written by Mr.Baubas. I got it from creepypasta.org. And it's got fairly good ratings. But the story is a bit... to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is a good story. It's well written. But at the same time, it's not scary to me. I keep seeing this one pop up all over the place, talking about how terrifying this story is. But to me, meh. The scariest part is the beginning. That feeling he mentions. That you just wake up afraid. You don't know why. The way he describes it, everyone has had that moment in their life. It's terrifying, and you don't know why you're scared. Did you wake up from a nightmare? You can't remember. What is there something happening in the house or room? You don't know. Why are you afraid? It is a perfect setup. But the rest, nope. The clown, to me, the antagonist, isn't scary. He's childlike. He's playful. He's not trying to hurt. He hasn't done anything menacing. He randomly dances around your backyard and digs a big hole. And then when he sees you, he doesn't act angry. He doesn't act freaky. He doesn't act like he's going to hurt you. He wants to show you. I mean, it would be terrifying to actually see, but at the same time, it's not. The scariest moment is at the end when he hears the clown disappear and creak through his closet. But I don't think the clown is going to hurt him. I think it just wants to show off what it did. Apparently it found something. I mean, it hasn't done a menacing thing this whole time. But, again, I guess it's because it's a clown, maybe? Or maybe I'm missing the whole point of a random stranger dancing around your backyard, but I do that all the time. And then I get shoes thrown at me. Or cops called. A lot of times it's the cops called. Or shot at. Yeah, that happens quite a bit too. But still. This story, written well, all these parts. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'd rate it a 3, but it is written well. And I like the beginning because it's kind of creepy. But after that, it loses a lot of steam on me. Heck, I'll give it a 3.5, not a 4. But, again, give me your opinion. Tell me what you think on it. This is Warlock Boo saying I hope to be spooking y'all later. Bye.